Well, we got back at it just a little bit yesterday. Obviously, Saturday took a little bit longer for us to get home than anticipated. So we Sunday last night we just walked through, watched some tape, and really just got the Kansas State game behind us and walked through some things on the floor with Baylor to get ready for them. And then obviously we'll practice today here in a little bit. Baylor's obviously Scott's done a remarkable job. Very, very tough, very physical. They've been able to really weather some storms with the injuries, whether it's Clark, Mason, McClure, all those different guys. And so a lot of respect for the job that they're doing and the way their kids compete. And so we know it's going to be a physical game, a game about toughness and discipline, and we got to match that challenge.
Have you had a chance to watch them much, and how different they look without Clark from when you guys played them?
Yeah, I've watched them some, not as much as probably obviously by the time tomorrow night, but I'll watch them a lot more here in a little bit, and then tonight, and then tomorrow. We don't play till 8, so a lot more tomorrow morning. But the zone is really active. Their effort's really good. I mean, they play really hard. I mean, they've had Vital at the 5 at times, and Kegler at the 4. Lately it's been more, whether it's Gillespie or Thamba, at the 5. They just really compete. I think they compete really, really hard. They guard you. They're physical. What they're doing, obviously, it's not as much. Usually when you prepare for Baylor, you're preparing for post defense. Our biggest thing going to the game last time was Clark. How are we going to guard Clark? How are we going to take away Clark? They weren't shooting the ball as well then. Now it's kind of flipped. Now it's more kind of playing like we like to play it's a lot of spread ball screen. It's a lot of pick and roll. Guys are making shots. I mean, if you go down the line between Mason, McClure, and obviously those two have been hurt, but, Butler, Bandu, Meyer, those guys are all shooting at a high clip right now. And so defensively, we're going to have to be really engaged.
This team, I don't think, was expected to be one of Coach Drew's better teams, but really until they've hit these injuries, they were probably playing just about as well as anybody in the league. Do you think that the way that they've been able to weather this storm this season, maybe just as a testament to how good of a coach and how good of a program he's built there?
Yeah, I don't think you need this year. I mean, just go look at, what he's done. How long's he been there? 15, 16 years, I think. That's just off the top of my head. But when you look at, where that program was and what he's been able to accomplish in his time there, obviously he's, I believe the winningest coach in the history of the school. I've been at numerous NCAA tournaments. I don't know about a total of Elite 8, Sweet 16s, but I know he's been to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, won Big 12 tournament championships, has had a great resume on the road in conference play. And I think I heard one stat over the last, 8 years, I think their record's as good as anybody in the leagues, I think outside of Kansas. And so he's done an unbelievable job there. And, great respect for him. And he's really maxing this team out. But, but Mason's really good. I mean, McClure's good. Kegler was he could have gone a ton of places. And, I mean, you go down the line, Meyer, those guys, he's got some good pieces. They're playing a lot different than probably his Baylor teams offensively have played. But I think defensively they've got a toughness about them.
You mentioned after the game on Saturday when Dell and Cam play well, you thought that kind of takes you guys to another level. What does that level look like, and are you expecting to see it the next month or so?
I hope so. I hope we see it. I just think it's a team that's engaged, a team that offensively can spread you out and put pressure on the rim and in pick and roll and in transition. And it's a team that, defensively, when they're engaged and locked in, can protect the basket, protect the paint, and keep people in front. But those two guys, when they're dialed in and they're playing well, I don't know if we've gotten beat when those guys come off the bench and play really well.
Is there, when they're not playing well, is there a common thread for either of them, or is it?
I don't think so. I just think it's just the game. It's the game of basketball. It changes on you. Cameron a couple times, it's been an injury. It's been foul trouble. Lindell sometimes it's just, getting him in a situation, making shots. He's all the way back almost to 40% from three. And so I had talked to him a little bit about it's just going to take some time. And now he's back-to-back years of shooting 40% from three. That's pretty impressive.
With Lindell, he's obviously weathered the storm of the injury, but then he had to adapt to coming into a team playing really well with chemistry. What's been most impressive about his, ability to do that, both from a physical standpoint, get himself back, but mentally reintroduce himself?
Yeah, I just think it speaks about his character. He's a tremendous kid. He's great in the classroom. I've never had in 2 years that I've coached him, I've never had anybody ever call and say, hey, it's a missed class, or it's he's late, never, not one time. And that's not always the norm. I mean, you're going to have a hiccup here and there, but I've never got a call like that about him. And so he handles himself, number one, the right way. And so that speaks volumes of his character. And I think that's been able to, kind of being able to weather some storms because, everything hasn't been perfect, whether it's been decisions that I've made or the injuries or the way the games have gone. But he's handled everything really, really well. And that's just going to prepare him and help him better, as he goes forward in the future. But when he's playing well and at a high level for us and making shots, I think he's made a really big step this year of getting others involved. When he's doing that, he's really, really good for us. And so, he's had to handle a lot more things than others had this year. I think he's handled it about as good as, a 19, 20-year-old kid can. And so it just kind of speaks about who he is, and we need him at his best going forward. He's been able to, if you look at the games like Oklahoma, Ole Miss, the game the other day, man, he brought such a lift to our team coming in the game, and that's been big for us.
Coach, I know you've answered a ton of questions about Mariel already this year. Talking to him out there, he said he's not surprised with how well it's gone for him here pretty much. Wondering if you had the same thing just because you knew how he was going to fit into this team, you knew his game. Was there ever any oh, wow, this is working out pretty well for us?
No, we knew he had a chance to be a really good player. I was actually, a buddy of mine was going to see Ron Sanchez, who's the coach at Charlotte now. And I said, man, let him know, man, that he's doing great offensively, but I think I've screwed up all the defense that you guys have taught him. But he's been, he coming from a program like Virginia, I've got great respect for Tony Bennett in all areas of life and what he's done there. But, sometimes guys need a new fit for what they're trying to do long term. And, Mario had won there for 3 years and, averaged almost 10 points as a junior and been part of, number one seeds and Elite Eight teams. So I knew we were going to get from the basketball standpoint, from culture, knowing how to win, being in big games. Was he going to be as efficient as he's been? I wouldn't have. You're not going to probably just say, yeah, he's going to be this efficient. He's been incredibly efficient, but he's out there right now shooting. I went out there because the coach's locker room was locked to get one of the managers to unlock it, and he's out there shooting. I mean, he's religious in his work ethic, but he's been great. He's an older guy who's had great success, and then hopefully when he leaves here, we'll call this home. Obviously, he's got great ties to Virginia too, but he's going to have he's going to have a degree from here, that he's already got. And he's going to have a bright future playing. And so hopefully, we've helped him in turn as much as he's helped us this year.
And there's a great history in this program with welcoming in transfers and kind of being successful. It started before you, but obviously you've got 2 starters. Is there anything special about a coaching staff that has to be particularly flexible or welcoming or really find the right guys? But I guess what makes a program good at that, at succeeding?
Yeah, it's our, Fred did a great job, kind of before it all was, especially the fifth year. Transfers always transfer, but especially the fifth years, when they started taking fifth-year guys a couple years ago here, they got some great fifth-year guys. Obviously, they had great transfers here. When you look at guys like Deontay Burton and Jamil McKay, they're huge impact guys. And now we've got Mariel and Mike. I don't know if it has to do with, us as a staff more so than just, finding the right fit. And, it's been good. I know the transfers, every school has a unique way that they need to recruit, as, you got to recruit your state, or you've got to make sure you get the best in-state players, or you've got to get fifth-year guys or transfers, or you've got to really do a great job in the Midwest, or some schools you got to go everywhere to recruit and turn over every rock. I just, this is a program that's, you kind of look at what's been good for it over the years when they've been successful. This is hopefully be 7 out of 8 years at 20 or more wins and NCAA tournament appearances. Transfers has been good. Getting good high school players has been really good for this program. And then getting the right transfers and, adding other, whether it's a fifth-year guy or a junior college guy when needed. And it's worked. It worked for Fred, and that was kind of what we did at Murray State. And outside of the fifth-year guys, because fifth-year guys, they usually skip over the mid-major level. They don't want to go there. They want to skip that level. But it's been good, and you just try to follow that. The thing we had to do really is just kind of get the roster back after we lost all those really good players after my second year.
Tyrese has obviously been really good for you this year, but does he need a counterpunch? It seems like teams are kind of running him off the three-point line, and you look at his numbers, I think he's only taken 12 shots that aren't threes.
Yeah, you could tell him to shoot, too. We've all told him. His teammates tell him. We tell him. You could tell him. You put a big article, just shoot across and put him on the headline. They run him off the line. He's got a floater. He just loves to pass. And, we've talked to him about, he's got to be a little bit more aggressive. And I think that will help everybody, because sometimes you get in there and that's a great shot, But, yeah, if guys run him off the line, he's skilled enough to go make plays. And so I'm fine with them running him off the line because he's a great decision maker, great basketball IQ. But whether it's floaters or pull-up jump shots, he's got to be a little bit more aggressive in that because sometimes, we're turning down good shots to see if we can get a great shot, but sometimes that good shot's pretty good and we need to take it.
When you watch film with him and you show him passing up shots, what's his reaction? Because he turns down some great looks.
Yeah, usually I didn't know I was that open, Coach. He's just been really good for this team, though. And, I joked about the motorcycle or whatever that thing is and all that stuff. But just in his personality and his character, but just about wanting to help these older guys and, being really selfless. He's a great fit, from that standpoint because you've got guys that are, Mario, Lindell, Talon, it's in their blood to score. That's what they're, and he's kind of a good complement with that. But we do need him to, because you look at his numbers, they're ridiculously good for a freshman. 54 from the field, 45 from three, 4 rebounds, and then, really almost 4-to-1 assist to turnover. Free throws for some reason not great. He missed 2 the other day, but he's been really good for us. But that's the one thing he's got to try to do as we go down the stretch.
You were talking about Cam before and just how much he brings when he's engaged. And it seems like when he is especially engaged, the emotion starts to come out a little bit more. Is there maybe a fine line of keeping that in check? Obviously, he got the tech on Saturday, even though it really wasn't very substantial, I guess, at that point in the game.
Yeah, you just, that's Cam. You don't want to control it too much. I watched the replay of it, and, you take it. But the thing to explain to the guys is like, hey, now it could have got to 9 with a minute and a half to go because of the technical. And so it was a great pass by Lindell, great finish by Cameron. He's just got to, in those situations, you don't want to take the emotion away from him, but just got to be smarter, and then get back on defense while you're yelling and running. And doing all that. But he does. He knows. It's like we talked about 2 teams. There's 2 Camerons to where, am I up on ball screens? Am I engaged? Am I running the floor? When he's playing with his relentless energy, he's really good, and he can cause a lot of problems. And thought he played like that at Kansas State.
You mentioned last week that you thought Monte was going to be here
Yeah.
tomorrow. Is he going to be here? Is anybody else going to be here?
He'll be here tonight. Fred will be here in a little bit. Those guys I know for sure will be here. I don't know. That's why I don't want to say George for sure. I don't know if George is going to be able to make it back because of his practice schedule. But Monte will be here tonight. I talked to him last night. And then Fred will be here in a little bit. And he's going to talk to the guys and stuff at some point today. Fred? For a game that I know of, yeah, he's been back obviously for the alumni reunion, and we talk a decent amount. But I talked to him a little bit ago, so he'll be back. And then when he gets in at some point, he'll talk, whether it's before practice or after practice. He'll visit with the guys tonight, and so that's great. Anytime you can get a guy like Fred back is tremendous for our program. He's really one of 7 guys to have their jersey retired here. Number 4 in scoring all time. Played in 3 NCAA tournaments. Everybody's tweeting right now that he's coming back, and then he's really the guy. To be honest, I mean, it is what it is. He's the one guy that's really led the renaissance back of where Iowa State basketball is today. If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't be where it is today. Obviously, a lot of other people played a part. His staff, those players, but he's the one that really led the charge. I mean, took over. They had 4 straight losing seasons, and then he went to 4 NCAA tournaments. 2 Big 12 tournament titles, the Sweet 16, and he left the program in a really good place for the next guy to take over. And and that's the thing. He'll talk to these guys about how much what we're doing right now this year means to these guys. But so it's great to have him back. But it's the first time that he's been back, to where he can watch a game, and so Monte will be back, and for a game, yeah, for a game, I believe so. Because I don't know what he was doing at All-Star, because Naz can't come back because they're playing too. And so, but anytime you get those guys back, man, is great. And obviously when your games, you don't play that Saturday home game, you play the Tuesday game, it's a little tougher because these guys are getting back to practice on Wednesday. But what it shows is how much these guys care about Iowa State, and that's what's cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.